Now, I want to move on to the subject of New Zealand. A little while ago, we had a lady that came to visit us from New Zealand. We had a fascinating discussion about what happened in New Zealand over the whole of the lockdown period, but it's raised all sorts of interesting topics. Let's just first have a look at this little clip with NHS England. Listen for the use of the applied psychology, but also right at the end, New Zealand gets a little mention.
When I look at the vaccine delivery, you sent 1 million letters to quite a wide population, but there were in fact only a total of 361,000 MMR vaccines delivered, which suggests that it may not be a very successful program. That's not necessarily the fault of the program. It's just that actually it may be that people are quite resistant, sadly, to getting vaccination against, again, another nasty set of infections, which have, where the vaccine has transformed a lot of lives of people who would otherwise, congenital rubella, for example, virtually gone, measles, a killer, mumps, or orchitis.
So there are going to be 2 more coming at you. Is that all right to batch in? That will be a batch of 5, Steve. So Tanuj and then Robert.
Very quick add-on. I thought it was a great paper. Tanuj, Associate Ned. Great paper. I actually was going to speak about lessons learned from communications in the past, and that's been covered. I want to shift the same kind of thread to education in the community, right? I mean, even with all of the stuff that's done, we often meet people with serious concerns about vaccination, and comms is one end of it, but it's sort of education with the community, and how are you thinking about it, partnerships in that space, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Thank you.
And then lastly, Robert.
Yeah, so I think it's a terrific programme, and obviously we've learnt a huge amount through the COVID experience and vaccine hesitancy and all that. 2 questions. One is so others have asked about sort of confidence and nervousness. I'm more interested in the complacency, which I think there probably is a lot of, and particularly around COVID. So what's the messaging to address complacency? I mean, you don't want to scare people. On the other hand, you want to make people aware of the risk. Is that media, or how are you doing that? The second question is just what's your ambition in terms of vaccination rates in the over 65s, for example? I mean, do you have a target in mind?
So there, you've got 5 comments or questions, and you can probably answer some of them as sort of
I'll wrap them
thematically.
Up.
But I'll throw one specific, which Steve might know, either of the Steves. Do we know what currently the flu is going through Asia, Australia, Asia? So have we got any information about what might be coming our way? Do we know that?
I don't actually.
I haven't looked at that recently. Helen, you are going to New Zealand?
It was all about the COVID in New Zealand. No, I haven't heard this year. Yes,
Jason. On Monday said it was too early.
Yeah.
Too early. Okay, fine. All right. Sorry. Thank you. So, Steve.
So what's coming our way? It's all about the COVID in New Zealand. Debbie, I'll just bring you on for a very brief comment on that before I make some other comments about what is coming from New Zealand.
Well, yes, New Zealand's a very interesting place. And our interview with Dr. Ursula Edgington, actually Brave New Zealand, where she was saying that it's a small population in New Zealand. Things are often tested out first on that population first. So if it doesn't work, then it's no big deal. It hasn't cost a lot of money. Those were her words, not mine. And also what happens in the Southern Hemisphere, because it's their winter now, will always follow, or all pretty much always follow in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's very much a case of keep your eyes on New Zealand, small population, island nation, and everybody is always looking at the data. And let's not forget Jacinda Ardern and the lock-up policies and the COVID policies were so hard and so stringent back in 2020.
Indeed, they were, and I suggest they're going to be worse in the future. Big thank you to the UK column viewer that sent an email saying to me, have a look at this document. Here it is, the New Zealand Pandemic Plan. And it's a framework for action, 219 pages of amazingly detailed information, but it sets out the all of government measures to be taken to prepare for and respond to a pandemic. It updates the New Zealand influenza pandemic plan, a framework for action 2017. My goodness, this document is just incredible because it describes the utter close down and control of society. Here are the contents, which people can freeze and have a look at what's on screen. But this covers every single area of society, and it also includes every single government agency being used for surveillance, for lockdown, for the grouping up of people, for vaccinations. It's truly incredible. And the only way I could really get to the document, if we just pop this one on screen, I won't let it run for long, but I thought the only way I can really show the scale of it is to take a little video of it. And here we see page after page after page scrolling down. This is all plans as how people are going to be informed, corralled, manipulated, injected, locked up. It is about the complete removal of people's rights, and particularly people who dare to challenge what the government says is the necessary action for the pandemic. So I think I'm going to leave that one there, but it's a truly astonishing document. We'll make sure that the link for it is in the show notes. Now, where does that take us? I think that brings you back